Okay, we're about to begin our program. Again, overflow room to my right in the library auditorium, right back this way. We appreciate you being here. I'd like to welcome to the podium Chair of the Utah Valley University Board of Trustees, Elaine Dalton.
Well, welcome to Utah Valley University. Today is the culminating moment in a year-long celebration of this great university's 75th anniversary. This climactic moment is marked with today's unveiling of the Roots of Knowledge, a project conceived by gifted artist Thomas Holdman and propelled to its historic completion by President Matthew Holland and many others. We're so blessed to be a part of this significant day. Some of the windows you are about to see have recently been on a whirlwind tour from their creation studios at Thanksgiving Point in Lehigh to successful events in New York, in Oxford, and in London. It's taken an army of artists, researchers, students, faculty, and staff to complete this, not to mention the generous donations of many of you who are here today. Thank you so much for this gift to our community and this gift to our university. As a board, we are thrilled to join all of you in celebrating this final location for these beautiful windows here at Utah Valley University. Today, we'll hear from the artists, faculty leaders, students, and others who have made a significant difference in making this project a reality. But first, we will hear from our president, President Matthew S. Holland. President Holland.
What a sight. Thank you, Chair Dalton, and thank you to all of our trustees who are here today. You do so much for this institution. We are very blessed with the trustees we have here at Utah Valley University. In addition to the trustees, members of the UVU's Foundation Board, the National Presidential Advisory Board, President's Executive Leadership Council, I want to welcome Governor Herbert and Mrs. Herbert, members of the Utah Board of Regents, Commissioner Bueller, and my fellow presidents from the Utah System of Higher Education. It's an honor for us to have you here today to celebrate this historic milestone for Utah Valley University. I'd also like to recognize the presence of Elder Craig Zwick and LeGrand Curtis of the Quorum of 70 from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Linda Walton, co-chair of UVU's Advisory Council for Interreligious Engagement. We are honored by the presence of most of the senior leadership of our two great sister institutions in the Valley, Mountain Lands Applied Technology College and Brigham Young University. It's a thrill to see so many donors, business leaders, legislators, and civic officials from around the Valley, the state, and beyond. Senator Hatch is here, breaking from his urgent press of national responsibilities, and he's been a great friend to Utah Valley University, and he's developed a keen interest in these windows, taking an early opportunity to visit them in Holdman Studios. Senator Hatch, thank you for being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a note of thanks to so much support from so many outstanding individuals today. I would also like to register that this event is being live streamed so that it may be enjoyed by a broader audience of the wonderful faculty, staff, and students and friends of Utah Valley University. When Utah Valley University began 75 years ago as Central Utah Vocational School, it was little more than a set of rundown barracks connected by some dirt roads and a desire to boost the wartime effort with skilled craftsmen. Located at the old site of the Provo Fairgrounds, the buildings were in disrepair the day we moved in. But with winter as a deadline, new students and their instructors got to work replacing windows, rewiring buildings, welding stoves, and repairing and building furniture. Much of this work was performed out of necessity, but it also was the part of the students' course of instruction. Ever since then, UVU has built upon the simple philosophy of learning by doing. This engaged learning model, one of UVU's 4 core themes, immerses students in real-world contexts outside of the classroom and inspires them to lead meaningful lives of impact. This marvelous theme has endured at this institution and is thriving like never before. Before we unveil our most spectacular example of an engaged learning project, I'd like to tell you the story behind it, the making of the Roots of Knowledge, if you will. A little over 7 years ago, my friend and colleague, Val Hale, brought Tom Holdman to my office. He was a successful stained glass artist in the community with a thriving studio in Lehigh. We'd never met before. After a little chit-chat, Tom said, "I have this idea. I want to do the history of knowledge and the written word in stained glass." With that, he rolled out in front of me the scroll pictured on the screen above me. I was intrigued. I'd only been in office for a few weeks, and UVU had only been a university for a year. But for me, this project had real potential, though I had a few reservations. So I said, "Tom, I love the idea, but if we're going to tackle the history of knowledge, it feels to me like you got to make it bigger. It's got to be more expansive." As I then pointed out, if you look at these original panels, you will see that many of the panels are devoted to a single thinker, like Newton, or a single episode in humanity's search for advancement and understanding. And the initial pitch that these panels was that they would go here, at the northeast corner of the library, where you might get at most 14 or 15 panels. All of this was, I thought, too limiting for the incredible multi-layered richness of the story of human knowledge that needed to be told. Rather than be discouraged by my response, Tom seemed energized. He said he would love to go think about all that, but then I didn't hear from him for a long time. After 8 or 9 months went by, I figured perhaps he'd lost interest in making it bigger, and that was the end of it. Then one day I noticed he was on my calendar. Before I knew it, we were sitting along with Cameron Oscarson and Tom. They're the key co-creative partners of this project. And Tom was rolling out a new scroll, pictured above. I was astounded. Tom had completely reconceptualized the project. They abandoned their earlier single-subject portrait-style approach for a densely packed mosaic of overlapping images that swept from the scientific to the spiritual, from prehistoric cave art to the texts of ancient Egypt, Greece, Israel, China, and the Akkadian Empire, from early Phoenician mastery of the seas to Anatolian breakthroughs in crop cultivation. And they had situated all of this in an intricately connected running motif of roots and branches, gorgeously highlighting the organic way that human knowledge always develops. At that moment, I knew we were at the forefront of something very special. So, after picking myself up off the floor, I think I stammered something like, yeah, I think we can do business. With nothing more that day than a handshake and 2 big smiles, Tom and I struck a partnership between Holdman Studios and Utah Valley University to design, build, and install what we decided should be called Roots of Knowledge windows. At that point, neither of us knew exactly how big it would be or how much it would cost. Had we probably wouldn't have smiled when we shook hands. We just knew it needed to happen. Eventually, those original 6 panels rolled out on my desk turned into 80 panels, laid out in 26 columns labeled A to Z. I'll let you think on the symbolism of that for a moment. 24 of these columns reach 10 feet high and are bookended by columns on each side reaching 30 feet high. Together, the columns run almost 200 feet wide. As you can see today, this prompted us to move the windows from the back northeast of the library right here to the very front of the library, along this beautiful and already artistic undulating wall. Now, thanks to the master plan that was just this very day approved by the Board of Regents, these windows, situated in the library, will someday be seen as the fountainhead, if you will, of a beautiful promenade bordered by buildings on each side stretching from here to I-15. In terms of the scale of this project, we also estimate, I think conservatively, that in total the windows are made up of more than 60,000 individual pieces of glass, each piece carefully designed to add detailed imagery and meaning to the overall work. And it is not just glass you will find in these windows. If you search carefully, you will see numerous artifacts ranging from meteorite coins to precious gems to an original $5 bill from the American Revolution to a piece of the Berlin Wall and so much more. From very early on, Tom and I both recognized that key to the success of such an ambitious enterprise, achieving both the scale and the quality we both dreamed of, would be the active involvement of a broad swath of students, staff, and faculty from Utah Valley University. This only fueled my early hope that the windows would become our most visible example yet of UVU's foundational commitment to engaged learning. Through a combination of internships, part-time work, and even full-time employment, over 350 students have now worked on this project as designers, artists, researchers, technicians, photographers, and installers. We've also assembled an advisory committee of 26 faculty and staff who added even greater richness and accuracy to the images Holdman Studios originally conceived. Shortly, my colleague, Kate McPherson, UVU Professor of English and Director of the Honors Program here, will give you a glimpse into the extraordinarily collaborative process that developed here between faculty, students, and artists. Perhaps even more significant than the faculty and student engagement that made the windows what they are today, there are a variety of ways in which the windows will continue to be an engaging catalyst of learning for the years to come. As one Oxford scholar put it when he saw several of the windows which had been on display at a public event at Christ Church College, "This is brilliant. Students will stand there staring at these windows. It will get them excited, and then they will turn around 180 degrees and march right up into the library to start learning more." We believe this will happen, and we believe it will happen for students of all ages. Already, the Utah Educational Network, or UEN, has partnered with us to create engaged learning curriculum for K-12 programs, as well as organize K-12 field trips for schools. Laura Hunter, the COO at UEN, is here today. We thank them for sharing the vision to take this Windows statewide. Furthermore, we've embedded an electronic time capsule and a panel that simultaneously lives on the web and plan to design apps, kiosks, and a 3D virtual reality recreation that will capture the essence of the Windows in electronic format. And if properly done, we believe, and all told, we are convinced that these tools will not only allow students who can't come to campus a chance to interact with the windows, but will effectively help them engage with a myriad of resources to explore the real substance behind the images. In conclusion, let me say this. What thrills me most about these windows is that not only are they a brilliant manifestation of engaged learning, they are a powerful reflection of all of UVU's core themes. If you look carefully in column X, panel 2, you will see a skyscraper constructed out of words. Right in the middle of the structure sits this particular sequence. Sandwiched between Latin expressions of university on the bottom and the phrase "never cease learning" on the top, you will see the words serious, engaged, inclusive, that all lead to student success. This is the sum and substance of all of UVU's aspirations. And not only did the actual words make it into the windows, the windows themselves are standing embodiments of these ideals. In addition to serving as an extensive expression of engaged learning, this project reflects, at every level, the seriousness of a university-level experience. The artistry is sophisticated and exquisite. The intricacy of the numerous symbols and signs is ingenious. And of course, the images themselves are inspiring tributes to the most serious and successful explorations of the human mind. It's also the case that from the beginning to the end, the windows show intellectual, geographic, and cultural inclusiveness. No single person, province, or paradigm dominates. Rather, the eye feasts upon a multiplicity of races, subjects, landscapes, and topics, all unified by a common quest for greater human understanding and discovery. Ultimately, we believe this rich constellation of images will inclusively speak to all students about the most serious and important contributions to human civilization, prompting them to engage in study and action that will lead to extraordinary individual success. That, finally, is the meaning of the Roots of Knowledge here at UVU, and why we think this installation of these windows is the perfect gesture to conclude our 75th anniversary. I could not be more grateful to all who have made it possible. Thank you so very much. Now, I would like to ask Kate McPherson to come forward and share her perspective on the experience of the faculty and staff who advised Holdman Studios on this project. Following her remarks, we will watch a short video of the making of the windows and their recent journey from Lehigh to London. Kate.
Thank you for being here. I'm one of the lucky 26 faculty and staff who consulted with Holdman Studios to bring this stunning art installation to fruition. It has been my privilege to be part of this project, and I would particularly like to thank Tom Holdman, Cameron Oscarson, Trevor Peterson for their creative joy and their listening spirits. It is a rare artist who seeks out and responds to academicians, after all. I'd also like to recognize my colleagues, especially Brian Birch for initiating the faculty advisory group, for Ann Arendt for masterfully coordinating the group along with her technology management students, to Brian Waite for keeping our focus genuinely global, and Wayne Hanowitz for providing astute questions and always warm encouragement. Our lively meetings solved both practical and intellectual issues related to depicting the vastness of human innovation, all while having fun. These fine people and many others helped make that possible. Please stand if you participated in this advisory committee. One of the special concerns of these faculty and staff was to help the artists reflect UVU's core theme of inclusivity, as the president mentioned. It's easy for any of us to imagine innovation from our own culture's perspective, but the collaborative spirit of this project enabled us to reach across every inhabited continent and honor the enduring quest for human communication, healing, beauty, engineering, literature, scientific discovery, and progress. The artists actively sought expert input to widen their field of vision, to sharpen the project's accuracy, and to broaden it to include as many notable achievements as people and cultures as possible. In fact, it's possibility, the sense of being able to reach beyond what's here and into an expansive future that remains at the center of the Roots of Knowledge, and what makes it such an ideal tool for engaged learning. Early on, we brought in students like Dallin Orr, who's at the back, a BFA graduate in illustration from UVU and a graduate of the honors program, to help Tom and Cameron generate ideas in concept art. Heather Holland, an integrated studies and honors program graduate with emphases in English and anthropology, helped Lee Groberg with research and logistics related to the in-process documentary film about this amazing project. Dozens of tech management students helped organize and document the progress of this complex project, especially Devin Haskell and Jacob Carpenter. But our reach to include students has been much greater than a few interns or project managers. More than 250 students in the honors program and in a variety of composition courses here at UVU have created written materials to eventually accompany the window on the website, on an app for mobile devices, and supporting information in the library. The objective was to engage each of them to contribute to a major international art project, to refine their writing and bibliographic skills, to gain expertise as researchers and collaborators, and to increase their confidence as scholars. Yet it is not merely these skills that such an engaged learning project yields. As an English professor for more than 20 years, I'm intimate with how students approach writing for their courses, or rather, as they often see it, writing for their instructors. What a project like this one yields is something markedly different. Our students wrote with a tangible audience in mind, community members and their families, visitors to the campus and their friends, school teachers and their pupils. The writers gained knowledge about a single item in the window and practiced skills by investigating and responding to an authentic, complex challenge to write something suitable for online publication. With this goal in mind, they approached the writing with more energy and commitment. We now have a collection of more than 400 short encyclopedia articles, with more in the works, to form the foundation of the informational materials necessary to begin curating this stunning window. These students will receive named credit when their materials are used, allowing them to professionalize their resumes at the same time they connect with the infinite nature of human possibility. Thanks to those students and to my colleagues, in grateful celebration of the potential for learning that Roots of Knowledge already has and will continue to generate. Thank you.
Our idea is, to have an interactive art experience, and as you look at it and say, why can't I change the world as well? Why can't I do that? And that's what we are hoping.
We've created mind maps, just written down everything, kind of separated it into different eras, different timelines.
So I get a sketch and convert it into the Photoshop version by taking photos of different images, meshing together all kinds of different things into one window, a panel.
Once we have that design the way that we like it, we go through with Illustrator and create lead lines and piece out the glass that we'd like to, and take them into the painting room where all of our artists, we can sit down and paint the image that needs to go in those pieces. We have light tables that we can see the window without putting it together. We'll go through and tweak that, and then we just build it and put the lead around each piece and put it together.
As Tom and Cameron and the other artists at Holdman Studios were working on these windows, they would give us a concept art drawing, and they would then get feedback from the scholars on the team about things that might be missing, things that needed to be changed, were they inaccurate, and so we would give them feedback on developing the concept of each window.
There's a tremendous richness to all of the panels that Tom has developed. One that I feel a particular affection for is the panel that covers the late 1700s. Of course, central to the frame then is the signing of the Declaration of Independence. There's a famous moment at the end of the Constitutional Convention where Ben Franklin looks up and they've got the draft of the document there that they're ready to ratify, and George Washington, who'd been stoically presiding over the proceedings, was sitting on a chair that had a sun on the top arc of the chair. And Ben Franklin famously said, "I've been watching the back of that chair this whole proceedings, and I've wondered, is that a setting sun or a rising sun?" And today, with the work that we have produced, and as I look to the future, I'm absolutely convinced that the symbol is that of a rising sun. So I told that story to Tom. He loved the story, and he said, we've got this famous image of Ben Franklin sitting at the drafting table of the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's not exactly where the chair was, but he's worked the chair in. It's got the rising symbol sun in it. It's not pure history, it's artistic, creative history, but it's got the details that I think will interest students. But it goes well beyond the founding fathers. So we have an image of the fourth emperor of the Qing dynasty, Kangxi. We have a Japanese incense burner from the Edo period. There's an image of Mary Wollstonecraft, a famed Enlightenment feminist figure and philosopher. There's something there to engage almost every mind and subject of interest. Roots of Knowledge is nothing less than an attempt to highlight the most important advances in human understanding from all over the world. Little wonder then that we started getting international attention with invitations to pack up and ship some of the windows to places like New York, Oxford, and London.
The General Society was founded in 1785 by the skilled craftsmen of New York City, artisans who represented 22 different trades. The Society is also home to our Locke Museum, which is currently housing the exquisite stained glass exhibit, Roots of Knowledge.
The Roots of Knowledge project is on display at the General Society of Mechanics and Tradesmen of the City of New York. Artist Tom Holdman began working on this project over a decade ago. He told me he didn't want to leave anyone out of this portrait of humanity, including some iconic New Yorkers.
We hosted over 400 people who came to see the exhibit here in New York City. And I enjoyed standing by to hear people's reactions. Of course, very discerning New Yorkers that would approach it kind of curiously, but by the end of it, people were turning to each other. We're going to have to buy plane tickets to Utah Valley now to see the rest of this exhibit.
Visitors have just been astonished. They literally stop in their tracks, and then immediately they're drawn in to the details. All of us, as Tom Holdman says, speak different languages, but there really is a universal language in art.
Welcome to Christ Church, established in 1546. We have the opportunity here to see for one day between New York City and London these panels of stained glass.
Well, I think it's a phenomenal project. Clearly there's an enormous amount of work and a lot of thought gone into it. I think it's truly inspirational.
The wealth of detail which you can see is just amazing. If you look in every corner of the image, you can find extraordinary scenes, people, things going on. You've no idea what it is, and you just want to go and look closely to find out what on earth it is.
It's comparable to the great schemes of medieval glass in the great cathedrals. And as I said to Tom earlier, when he says, oh, it took 12 long years, well, in the Middle Ages, it would take somewhere between 25 and 50 years. So I think he did really well.
It's one of those things I think you'll have to come back and look at several times, if not, continually, really, to fully appreciate it. It's too much of a bite in one go, I think, to take in.
We have tonight a beautiful, very special array of art here inside the hall. We are extremely honoured tonight that the Holdman Studios from the US have brought an example of their roots of knowledge. It's a major stained glass piece of work destined for the Utah Valley University Library, and it's extraordinary imaginary images to depict humanity's contributions to the pursuit of knowledge throughout recorded history.
It's really exciting because it combines really traditional techniques that have been practiced since the medieval period, painting on coloured glass and leaded together, with also new materials, and I've noticed various parts in the window which kind of hark back to the American opalescent glass that people like Tiffany made famous in the 19th century and still very popular in America and across the world today. My specialism is particularly in stained glass of the 19th century, and I think that's partly why I responded so well to this project, because the ambition is certainly on a scale that hasn't been tackled really, I think, since that period, if I can say that, and hopefully haven't offended all contemporary artists.
We have a number of renowned stained glass artists from the UK here at the art fair, and it's been wonderful to see them over the past few days coming in here and actually looking at the work of a fellow stained glass artist. And it's a great homage to Holdman Studios that stained glass artists will peer review the work and consider its beauty.
I would say this is the biggest project which is contemporary I have experienced through my naked eyes. So I think this is a historical project.
The City of London's 2,000 years old. I don't think it's seen anything like this before. So it's hugely exciting. And the university, I know, will cherish it, love it, and of course it will bring it right back to its original roots here. So it's a right hands across the seas exercise, this. And my goodness, a thing of beauty. And a thing of beauty is going to be cherished forever.
Do we have your interest? One last thing that we absolutely have to do before we unveil. The Roots of Knowledge windows are only sitting here behind these curtains today because a number of remarkable individuals recognized the beauty, the grandeur, and the potential of this project, and then they did something about it. Today, we all owe a tremendous thank you to the following friends of UVU and Tom Holdman, who gave so generously in order to make the windows a reality. Please stand as I note your name or philanthropic organization, if you would. The Ashton Family Foundation, John and Karen Gardner, Kathy Horman, the Barbara Barrington Jones Family Foundation, the James and Lynette Loveland Family Foundation, Gail Miller Wilson and Kim Wilson, Mary and Drew Major, Dee Maurer, and one final donor who asked to remain anonymous. Would you please join me in an enthusiastic show of gratitude for what these good people have done? Now, there are two more gifts which deserve special mention today. Mark and Deborah Bingham have been friends of UVU for a number of years. Mark Bingham is founder and creator of Phone Directories Company, which he sold in 2007. After that, he and his wife Debbie started Blue Diamond Capital, LLC, which manages more than 25 companies across 7 western states. Debbie Bingham served as chair of the UVU Foundation Board from 2010 to 2014 and as a member of the UVU Board of Trustees during that same time. With the kind of decisive insight about big decisions that has marked their whole careers, Mark and Debbie Bingham saw the windows for the first time and decided on the spot to support the project. Thanks to both the timing and the amount of their gift, they ensured at a most critical moment that the Roots of Knowledge would be completed and completed on time. As a result of this leadership gift, we are delighted to announce that the space in which you now sit will be known as the Mark C. and Deborah H. Bingham Roots of Knowledge Gallery. Mark and Debbie, will you please come to the podium and care to share a word with us, your thoughts and feelings about this project?
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, can you believe that we're celebrating this university at 75 years young? Wow, I wished I was 75 years. I know many of you young ladies are saying, I can't believe he's that old. It's an honor for Debbie and I to stand here before you and help unveil a piece of art that has been so inspired with so much detail. It's so unbelievable, as you will shortly see. One could stand here for days observing and still miss so much of what has been created here. It's just remarkable. Today's objects of this nature creates geniuses for tomorrow. Whether it be in art, sports, business, politics, science, entertainment, medicine, or any field that the human mind can conceive. I can testify to that. As a young boy, I would ride my bicycle up to the high school and admire all of the trophies in a large trophy case by the gymnasium. I could see all the athletes' names engraved on the various awards. Right then and there, I set a goal. I could and I would do better than all the others before me. I picked my role model to accomplish the task and did so upon graduation. I've learned that most of the great accomplishments achieved in life are won and created by some disabled or handicapped person. They are willing to push themselves beyond the limits and where most fail and give up. That last little bit to push over the top is only conquered by a select few. When you observe this masterpiece, you will know that Tom Holdman is one of them. There are only a handful that will realize what the 11th hour was really like. What a great piece for a marvelous work to be displayed. Please pay a close attention to my closing statement, especially those that are seeking an education or climbing the corporate ladder. A human being can acquire so much during his or her lifetime. Possessions such as wealth, power, families, health, personal belongings, and such, that they all can be taken away from you at the blink of an eye. But there's only one thing that cannot be taken from you. That's an education. Then it's up to you to do the best of it within your lifetime. I pray that you will use it to better mankind.
Sorry. It's heavy. Lastly, we absolutely need to recognize a very generous gift from Mr. Ira Fulton. Ira founded Fulton Homes in 1975. Together with his late wife, Mary Lou, the Fultons have spent a lifetime contributing time and resources for the betterment of communities all over the western United States, donating more than $300 million to worthy causes, especially in education. The Fultons first extended their great generosity to UVU in 2006 by providing a dollar-for-dollar matching fund, which sparked a new level of giving at this institution. Even more importantly, these donations and Ira's personal leadership on both floors of the state legislature played a pivotal role in what no one in the state ever expected: unanimous votes in both the House and the Senate to turn Utah Valley State College into Utah Valley University. I was so deeply touched when Ira accepted my invitation to come up to Orem without any further explanation of what he was coming to see. Just like the Binghams, Ira decided on the spot that he would support the windows. In fact, Ira decided based only on seeing that number 2 pencil sketch I showed all of you earlier. We literally had to force him out of Tom's office to actually see several of the paintings before we could say yes to his insistence that he would see that the project got done. And all of this just about gave Scott Cooksey an aneurysm. He had planned a whole day to build up an ask for Ira Fulton. Ira had sealed the deal in the first 5 minutes of being in town. It's Ira's style. Again, this seemed a window onto why Ira has accomplished all that he's accomplished. All he needed was just a glimpse into the extraordinary quality of the concept and that there was sufficient reason to believe the concept could be executed. With that, he unhesitatingly and generously committed to ensuring its success. In that vein, it should be noted that, at his insistence, Ira's generosity not only extends to the immediate creation and installation of the windows, it also sets up an endowment that will help UVU care for the ongoing maintenance and programming needs of these windows down through the ages. Ira, will you please join me as this audience shows their appreciation for your keen vision and great generosity.
How you doing, Senator? You and I are both getting up there. This part in our life is called maintenance. I'll tell you, it's such an honor to be here today. My son said, "How did you let that Matt Holland talk you to go up there and you didn't know what she's getting into?" So when I came home, I told him about it, and he says, "Dad," he says, "haven't I taught you that you can say no once in a while?" He says, "That Matt's a good salesman, isn't he?" I says, "Yes, he is." But really, what sold me on this project was seeing it. I was so inspired when I looked at it. I just couldn't believe it. When I look at it and go down each panel, you look at them today, but Bob Holman has kept me involved in this thing from day one. And I want to tell you something, his studio and his leadership and what he has done is just so great. I also like to think about back in 2008 when we dedicated broke ground for this library. President Munson was here, the governor was here, Dan Campbell was here, a few of us other guys. And when the prophet would be here today if it wasn't for other circumstances, because President Hinckley loved both these guys. President Munson just loves this university. He's told stories about it since 1975. And the only reason he can't make it today is because of other situations. But I can tell you that I'm very honored to be here today. I can't help but get so involved. My son says, "How'd you get so attached to Utah?" I said, "I love the people." Simple. I got attached to Hawaii too. Over there we have a program where we have called the iWork program, and we bring in 700 children a year from around the world to get an education. And over there we have 4 quarters, and we expect them to graduate in 3 years. And when they do, they go home debt-free. So when I say you get involved with things, you get things, the payback. This here will be payback for many years to come. And I just, I look at all the things I do, all the things I want to do, and I'm a young 85. The prophet used to call me his youngster. And I said, "Yes, sir, I'm your youngster." His grandfather was named Ira Hinckley. And he said, "Do you mind me calling you Ira?" I get goose when they call me Ira, I get goosebumps when they talk about it. But he liked to say Irie, I tell you, with President Munson and President Hinckley and this great church that I belong to has given me the power I need to move forward and create so many wonderful things. And I just feel so honored and so blessed to be involved. And before I stop talking for a second, I'd like for my family that I brought here today to stand up. Lori? She's bashful. You want to say anything, Lori? Nope. She's my number one daughter. Where's my son, Doug? I'm good. How about one of my granddaughters, Jill? No comment? How about that great son-in-law of mine? Thank you, Norman. Where's Steve? Steve Walters. Is Steve around here somewhere? Well, he's hiding. But I also brought up my little girl from Thailand, Noi. Stand up, Noi. She's been taking care of my wife for 18 years. Now she thinks she'll take care of me. I have to be careful because she tries to pamper me too much. But I'll tell you, I'm very blessed to have so many dear friends, and particularly Matt Holland and Paige. How's that boy doing on the mission? He doing good? That's great. Well, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to be involved, and until we meet again.
I'm asking this young man to stay. If you'll folks indulge me for just one moment longer, because I'm not actually quite through with Ira. What you need to know is that Ira did not simply make an investment in the Roots of Knowledge when he saw the scope of this project. He extended what was already the makings of a more comprehensive investment in UVU as an institution of higher education. To his Roots of Knowledge gift, Ira is establishing a matching fund for endowed gifts in support of our Center for Constitutional Studies. He's providing funding to create the Mary Lou Fulton Endowed Chair in Education, Effectiveness and Innovation, and our very first endowed chair here at UVU. And he's establishing an endowment fund to provide general operational programmatic support for the library itself in recognition of this extraordinary set of gifts to UVU, past, present, and future, I proudly announce that UVU is officially naming our library the Ira A. and Mary Lou Fulton Library. So would you like to see the windows at this point? Okay, in order to do this right, I need Tom Holdman and Cameron Oscarson to come and join me now. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have a, you're going to have a chance to hear from these gentlemen directly after the windows are unveiled, and again, applaud them again. For now, we would like to take just a moment to, having already given us some initial thanks to Tom and Cameron, but I would like to acknowledge their families who really, virtually have put almost everything on the line to help get this project done, and done right, and done on time. So Gail Holdman and Amber Oscarson and your families, would you please stand so we can express our thanks to you. Okay, Mark and Debbie and Ira, I think you better join us for this.
All right, Ira over on this side.
This way?
Yep. And then you
Okay.
help push this button.
The audience want to help us with a countdown? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Please be seated. I'm not sure what's more gratifying, looking at these windows or the looks on your faces. Before we continue, I do want to thank the governor. The governor needed to slip out early. He made a heroic effort to stay as long as he did today, so we're grateful. Please let the governor know, Ms. Herbert, how much we appreciate his presence, and we wish him safe travels. Now, to help you with the sensory information overload you're experiencing, we're going to bring you around right now some booklets that are going to be passed out. These booklets just scratch the surface of what's in these windows. The intricacy and the detail is just amazing. But anyway, without further ado, you've heard all about them. Now it's time to hear directly from them. Tom and Cameron, the stage is yours. So.
And so like my dad, he would say, if art is speaking, don't interrupt. But I know that we need to say a few words. Now, I have always used art to express like myself. I, at times, have had a slow tongue at times, but I have used art as the international language, how it speaks to everybody. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then 1,000 pictures is worth a million words, isn't it? Yes. I will have Cameron mention a few things.
Well, first of all, thank you everybody for being here. You know, as Tom and I got started on this project, the massive scope of this story that we were trying to tell was just so daunting and so crazy that we really didn't understand what we were getting ourselves into. And we figured the best way that we could do this was just to get going, you know, just start and begin to delve into what we thought might work. And as we progressed, we found that the story that we were trying to tell of humanity was the story that we were actually living. We were facing these challenges, and we weren't turning away, but we were going straight into it and overcoming those throughout the process of figuring this thing out. I look at every single one of these panels, and I think about our team, our very talented team that you will meet later throughout the day. And we had moments of failure. We didn't always succeed, but we never quit. Sorry. We did it. And every one of these people back here, they have moments of greatness, just absolute greatness, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, thank you. So they asked us to explain all this in 8 minutes. So here we go. And so we will right off, a little bit here, and only scratch a small hairline of what is in here. So as you see, the overall theme though is roots of knowledge. And so at the ends here we have two bookends, as it were. We have the tree of knowledge at the beginning, which we used the oldest tree on the earth, which is over 5,000 years old, and then we incorporated in that not only glass but petrified wood and fossils in there. And then it's roots here, as you see, it feeds through all of the windows. And then it also, the first one it feeds into here is the tree of life over here. And then you can see it is a tree in the springtime. But though if you look closely, it's a tree made up of all nationalities and races. And then all of the blossoms spread throughout time there. And then we like highlight other trees as like well. Over here is an olive tree, or the tree of faith. And then over here is the tree of liberty here. And then up, like higher here is the tree of freedom. And then over here, over here is on around like 0 is the survivor tree. And then all of those trees like feed at the end with its like roots all the way. It feeds the tree of hope for humanity. But yet it is a tree in the fall time. And so all of those like leaves, as it were, like turn into a flame, as it were. And so like we are passing on the flame to those who will go after us. And then all of those branches now of hope, they then feed through back in time, and they then go back all the way. And so our ancestors had hope for us. And so like knowledge fuels the hope, and hope fuels the knowledge. Okay, Cameron.
Yeah. Well, obviously, you look at every single panel throughout this window, or this collage of windows, and it's crazy because there's hundreds of stories we can tell. Obviously, we need to wrap things up. I want to just point out a few little things. Kind of this Mayan calendar panel here. We really like this Aboriginal and these storytellers. You know, a lot of record keeping was orally transferred rather than through the written word. We move forward through here to the High Renaissance. Some of the very cool things that we did here, kind of epitomizing the height and light of architecture of the Gothic period. And I want you to really look close at this side elevation. It's built out of multiple cathedrals and structures and artwork and everything. Along the sides, we have all the oldest school seals around the world. And of course, you can probably guess what we put right above the rose window here in Notre Dame. We got the Utah Valley seal for the 75th anniversary. You know, Leonardo da Vinci, his studio, Michelangelo, all these wonderful artists and innovators, printers, Gutenberg, all the way down to the Berlin Wall. We've got a gathering of international people that are fighting for a variety of human rights, right down to, like President Holland said, we have a piece of the Berlin Wall with the paint on it still. It's amazing what people have been able to donate to this project, what we've been able to acquire, from coins to Purple Hearts to just a plethora of things. And really, when you come and view this window, please take your time, and hopefully we can offer you more information throughout the evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And now as you look at the window, people ask us, how long did this window take? And it took us 12 years. No, it took us our whole lives. But though more than that, it took the lives of all of you and all of our ancestors. This window took to make thousands and thousands of years. It is the story of us, of me and of you. And so we want you to be inspired by it, that look at what others have achieved. You can do the same thing. I believe every person on this earth, no matter where you are or who you are, can have moments of genius, but though do we act upon them? So as you look at this, I would like you to take action and act upon how you can add, and that you can hand the torch on to future generations. You can do it. And I am so humbled by the help from so many that helped us to help others. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that additional round of applause, eminently warranted today. As I said earlier, it was my hope from the start that these windows would in every way reflect the core themes and aspirations of Utah Valley University. I trust that, before now you can see in living color just how much these windows reflect an educational enterprise that's serious, engaged, and inclusive. But as we relentlessly ask ourselves around here, serious, engaged, and inclusive for what? And of course, the simple but all-important answer to that question is student success. Our aim at UVU is to ensure that everything we do with one overarching goal in mind: helping students succeed. It starts with helping them achieve academic success, but really only feels complete when we also get them ready to succeed in their key vocational, personal, and public pursuits. With this in mind, we'd be remiss if we did not hear from a student whose life has already been transformed by her experience with the Roots of Knowledge windows. Could I invite Shay Anderson to come up and share just a brief word in conclusion with us today?
My experience as an artist on the Roots of Knowledge has been the most rewarding addition to my creative career. My connection to the project has been personal and far more meaningful by participating as a student at UVU. I intercepted this opportunity by chance and had originally just applied to work with stained glass and learn how to paint it. I would later find out that getting hired would mean I could be a part of the Roots of Knowledge, the gorgeous installment in the library at my own university. I was completely surprised and ecstatic when Cameron Oscarson called me and informed me that if I were to work at Holman Studios, it would have to be with my mother, who had also interviewed for a spot. We could not believe it. This project has become so personal to me in so many ways. Having my mother there every day was a definite personal touch. Working with her, where the two of us could learn and create together, has effectively strengthened our relationship. Her and I both delighted in the Roots of Knowledge's message of individuality and found our own way of making the projects our own. Walking past these empty window spaces for the last year and a half, every day I'd attend school, has been a personal gift. Throughout the stresses of finals or tests, walking past this space when I entered the library was indescribable. Knowing that something I was so involved with and that I cared so much about was going to be here. I could describe it as a reassurance or maybe additional stress, but this project has without a doubt made me feel at home at UVU. I will forever feel safe in front of these beautiful windows. The Roots of Knowledge, having a home at UVU, is a perfect fit. I've witnessed the essence of engaged learning every moment while working at Holman Studios. The profound power of an artistic collective that our team created was so unique. I've come to cherish every critique and chance to improve my own skill and style. This project is what it is because every day I am surrounded by people just like me, people who love and who live art. These people inspire me to chase dreams of becoming a professional working artist and have proven to me that the affirmation comes only from yourself and your determination. I cannot stress enough just how rewarding it has been to meet these artists and share this with them. This group of artists, scholars, professors, and students who helped make this window are a valid example of what the Roots of Knowledge is. Each and every one of us has the capability to make some kind of difference or change in history. Yet, when we are all pulled together with the intention of creativity and positivity, just look at what we can accomplish.
Folks, we can talk about a lot of things, anniversaries and buildings and philosophies of education and the role of teachers and donors. But at the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's for students like Shay and 35,000 others just like her. For 75 years, this institution's been transforming student lives, giving them skills, leading them to accomplishments they could hardly have imagined. And we're going to keep doing it for another 75. We'll just do it on a greater scale and reach even greater heights. Now, before we all depart, Tom, will you and Cameron come back up here? And can I ask every artist, student, staff, faculty member directly involved with this project to come up, please?
Come up, man. It is a great team. Awesome team.
Come on, gather on in. Proud mama. Guys, come on in. Tom. Come in, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Holdman and UVU, one final round of applause. Enjoy the windows. Thank you.